Okay, so you've made the leap. You're changing careers, which is huge. But now comes the really tricky part, right? The interview. How in the world do you convince a hiring manager that your past, which might seem totally unrelated, is actually your greatest strength? Well, today, we're going to break down exactly how to turn that challenge into your biggest advantage. It's that feeling, isn't it? You're staring at a job description, and you can just feel that gap between what's on your resume and what they're asking for. But here's the secret. The answer isn't to hide your past. Nope. It's to reframe it into a story that they just can't ignore. And that is exactly what we're going to focus on. All right, let's start with the absolute foundation of everything, your narrative. A career change interview is so much more than a simple Q&A. Think of it as your chance to build a bridge connecting where you've been to exactly where you want to go. It's all about crafting a story that makes your journey make perfect sense. I love this quote because it really gets to the heart of it. This is a critical mindset shift. An interview shouldn't feel like an interrogation. It should feel like a conversation. And when you share your journey as a story, you're not just rattling off accomplishments. You're creating a real human connection. And trust me, that is way more memorable than any bullet point on a resume. Now, a really crucial part of your story is explaining why you're leaving your last role. And here's the golden rule. Never, ever, ever speak negatively about a past employer. It's all about the framing. Instead of focusing on what you're running away from, you need to highlight what you're running towards. This growth frame shows you're ambitious, not better. It's a total game changer. And I want you to really let this sink in. This isn't just about trying to sound confident. It's about actually recognizing your own value. You are not starting from scratch. Every project you worked on, every team you were part of, every single challenge you overcame, those are your transferable skills. Your unique background isn't a weakness, it's your secret weapon. It gives you a perspective that literally no other candidate has. Okay, so once you have your story straight, you've got to back it up with some proof. And that brings us right to our second pillar, mastering the behavioral interview. This is where you pivot from telling them about your skills to actually showing them, using concrete examples from your past to prove what you can do. You know, the absolute gold standard for answering behavioral questions is the STAR method. This simple little framework is basically your blueprint for turning these vague claims into really powerful, evidence-based stories. And recruiters love it because it gives them clear, measurable proof of your skills in action. Check out this breakdown from some MIT career advisors. It shows you exactly where to put your energy. Now notice the action. That's what you specifically did, gets the most attention by far. A whopping 60% of your answers should be dedicated to describing your direct contribution. And then you cap it off with a nice quantifiable result. So let's look at a practical example. Say someone is moving from finance into product management. The action here really highlights those transferable skills, right? Like collaboration and data-driven decision-making. And that result? Oh man, reducing decision time by 40%, that is a powerful metric that shows your impact, and it doesn't matter what industry you came from. All right, on to our third pillar. This is all about the fundamentals, the non-negotiables of pre-interview prep. These are the steps that shout, I'm a professional, and really set the stage for a great conversation before you even walk in the room. So, why is preparation so critical? Well, think about this. In one survey, 47% of hiring managers said they would reject a candidate just for not knowing enough about their company. That's almost half. It's such a massive unforced error, and it is completely avoidable. So here it is, your pre-interview checklist. First, you've got to research the company's mission, their values, what they've been up to lately in the news. This shows you actually care. Next, read that job description again and again and map your STAR stories to the specific things they're looking for. And this is so important. Prepare your own thoughtful questions. This shows you're not just looking for any old job, you're interested in this job. And while we're on the topic of professionalism, get a load of this statistic. 90% of interviewers would disqualify a candidate for simply touching their phone during the interview. 90%. The message could not be clearer. Turn it off, put it away, and be 100% present. Our fourth pillar is a strategy that takes you from being just another candidate to being a proactive networker. This is a real game changer that, honestly, most career changers totally overlook. It takes you way beyond the formal interview process. We're talking about the informational interview. And the key is right there in the name. It is for information, not to ask for a job. See, when you frame it as a request for advice, you totally lower the stakes, which makes people way more willing to talk to you and share that invaluable insider knowledge. So, how do you find people for these chats? Well, you start with the oh gosh, of course, the people you already know. Then you leverage their connections to tap into the Meet My Friend network. You go where the professionals are with the Since You're Here strategy. And finally, don't be afraid to aim high and reach out to the big wonderfuls, the leaders you really admire. You'd be amazed how many people are willing to help. So we have covered your story, your proof, your prep, and your networking. Now let's bring it all home with the final, absolutely crucial steps that can seal the deal, the close, and the follow through. At the end of the interview, when they ask if you have any questions for them, consider dropping this one. It's bold, for sure, but it is an incredibly powerful move. It shows real confidence, and more importantly, it gives you one last chance to tackle any hidden concerns the interviewer might have, right there in the room. Remember, the interview is not over when you leave. Within 24 hours, send a personalized thank you email. And don't just say thanks. Reference a specific part of your conversation to jog their memory and make it personal. And you know what? Every single interview is valuable practice. Just stay positive and keep moving forward. Look, changing careers is a challenge, there's no doubt about it. But your diverse background is not a liability. It is your unique story. It's your competitive edge. It's the very thing that makes you a valuable and innovative candidate. So the only question left is, how are you going to tell that story?